Coco Gauff explains left arm injury to Eala before retiring only for second time in career at Indian Wells. Coco Gauff injury. Coco Gauff's Indian Wells Tennis 2026 campaign ended abruptly due to a left arm injury, forcing her retirement against Alexandra Eala. Eala advances to the fourth round for the first time after Gauff struggled with pain and received taping. This marks only the second mid-match retirement in Gauff's professional career. Coco Gauff retired injured for only the second time in her professional career during her match against Alexandra Eala at the Indian Wells Open on Sunday night, bringing an abrupt end to their third-round encounter. Eala advanced to the fourth round for the first time in her career after Gauff was forced to stop with a left arm injury early in the second set. The Filipino player was leading 6-2, 2-0 when the match ended after 54 minutes. The American appeared to be struggling physically late in the opening set. She first took a medical timeout while trailing 5-2, before Eala broke serve immediately afterward to close out the set 6-2. During the set break, Gauff received heavy taping on her left forearm in an attempt to continue the match. However, after dropping the first two games of the second set, Gauff was unable to carry on. Before leaving the court, she was seen explaining the nature of her left arm injury to Eala. The retirement marked only the second time in Gauff's career that she has been forced to withdraw from a match mid-play. Her previous retirement came at the Cincinnati Open in 2022, when she stopped her round of 64 match against Marie Bouzkova after rolling her ankle. With the result, Eala secured a milestone victory at Indian Wells, moving into the fourth round of the tournament for the first time. FAQs on Coco Gauff injury. Why did Coco Gauff retire from her match at the Indian Wells Open? Gauff was forced to retire due to a left arm injury during her match against Alexandra Eala. After taking a medical timeout and receiving heavy taping on her forearm, she dropped the first two games of the second set and decided she could not continue. What injury did Coco Gauff suffer during the match against Alexandra Eala? Gauff appeared to be struggling with a left forearm injury. She first requested medical attention while trailing in the opening set and later had her forearm heavily taped during the set break before ultimately retiring from the match. How many times has Coco Gauff retired from a match in her career? The retirement at the Indian Wells Open marked only the second time in Gauff's career that she has withdrawn from a match mid-play. Her previous retirement came at the Cincinnati Open in 2022 against Marie Bouzkova after she rolled her ankle. Title: The Quiet Strength of Coco Gauff at Indian Wells. The desert air at Indian Wells carried its usual mixture of anticipation and awe. Fans had gathered under the California sun to watch some of the best athletes in the world compete in one of tennis's most beloved tournaments, the Indian Wells Open. Among them was a young star who had already captured the imagination of tennis fans everywhere, Coco Gauff. Gauff had become a symbol of the new generation of tennis, fearless, powerful, and deeply composed for someone so young. Her meteoric rise from a teenage prodigy to a Grand Slam champion had been nothing short of remarkable. Yet, on this day, the story unfolding on the court would reveal something different about her. Not just her talent, but her humanity. Across the net stood another rising player, Eala, a determined competitor from the Philippines whose own journey through the professional circuit had begun attracting global attention. The match between Gauff and Eala had the feel of a generational meeting, two young athletes representing the future of the sport. From the first rally, however, something seemed slightly off. Gauff's movement, usually explosive and fluid, looked just a bit restrained. Her powerful two-handed backhand still cracked across the court, but the rhythm of her serve appeared unsettled. A few times she rotated her left arm subtly, as if trying to loosen something that refused to cooperate. At first, the crowd hardly noticed. Tennis fans are accustomed to minor adjustments, players stretching, shaking their wrists, or bouncing lightly on their toes between points. But those closest to the court began to see the quiet signals. Gauff flexed her arm again. And again. Still, she kept playing. Eala, focused but perceptive, sensed it too. Across the net she could see Gauff's brief moments of discomfort between points, small signs that something was wrong. Yet the rallies continued. The ball moved rapidly across the court, carving angles and forcing both players to chase every shot. Eala fought bravely, pushing Gauff into longer exchanges. The crowd responded with enthusiastic applause. But the tension in Gauff's body gradually became impossible to ignore. During a changeover, she sat in her chair and gently rubbed her left arm. Her team watched from the stands with growing concern. For a player known for her fierce competitiveness, even the hint of injury carried weight. Gauff had built a reputation for resilience. Since entering the professional tour as a teenager, she had battled experienced champions, intense crowds, and the relentless travel schedule of the tennis circuit. She had played through pressure and expectations that few athletes her age had ever faced. Retiring from a match simply wasn't something she did. In fact, over the course of her career, she had done it only once before. Which made what happened next even more striking. After another short rally, Gauff paused before returning to the baseline. She looked toward the chair umpire, then slowly walked across the net toward Eala. The crowd murmured, sensing something unusual. Tennis is a sport of fierce competition, but it is also a sport of respect. Players often share brief conversations at the net when issues arise, clarifying calls, discussing interruptions, or simply acknowledging something beyond the game. But this moment carried a different tone. Gauff leaned slightly toward Eala and quietly explained what she was feeling. Her left arm, she said, wasn't responding the way it should. The discomfort had been building, and continuing to play might risk making it worse. Eala listened carefully, her expression shifting from competitive focus to genuine concern. In that brief exchange, the match transformed from a battle into a moment of shared understanding between two athletes who knew the demands of their sport. Eala nodded sympathetically. No player ever wants to win because an opponent cannot continue. The conversation lasted only a few seconds, but it spoke volumes about the character of both players. Gauff then walked back toward the chair umpire and spoke again. The decision had clearly been difficult, but it was the responsible one. She would retire from the match. The announcement rippled through the stadium. A wave of disappointment swept across the crowd, not directed at Gauff, but at the unfortunate reality of sport. Fans had come to watch a thrilling contest between two rising stars, and instead they witnessed the fragile line that athletes constantly walk between performance and physical limits. As Gauff packed her racket bag, the stadium rose in applause. The applause wasn't just for the match. It was for her courage. Athletes are often celebrated for their ability to push through pain. But sometimes true strength lies in recognizing when to stop, when protecting your body and your